Hi MJ, I'm Christopher from the People's Movies. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Christopher. How are you? I'm okay.
I'm good, I'm good. So first, I just want to say it's been 40 years since the last Red Sonja movie. They've been
Yes.
trying to get this in development for so long. You've come along and finally it's now here, it's now a reality. I wanted to ask you firstly how it feels to, finally have this Red Sonja movie out there for people to see.
It's a little bit surreal because I know I've been tracking this movie. As a filmmaker, you track projects, right? And they come along and you go, okay, Red Sonja's going to be out there. And you see, oh, this director's attached. So Robert Rodriguez, I mean, I don't know exactly when it started. I know Robert Rodriguez and Rose McGowan about 15 years ago were going to do it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, well, that'll be an intrigue. It won't be my version. Because in my head, I'm going, well, my version would be this, right? And then that falls apart, and then another director gets attached, and I'm like, God, I didn't get that, didn't get a chance. Then and you go, maybe I went for a couple of meetings, didn't get the gig, and then I made Solomon Kane, this Robert Howard adaptation, a sort of sword and sorcery dark movie about 10 years ago. Oh, no longer than that now. I'm getting old, long time ago. Um, which I felt qualified me to play in the fantasy space because those are the movies I wanted to make.
Yeah.
I got into filmmaking. I love horror, I love genre stuff, but I love fantasy. And I grew up in the kind of I came of age in the 80s which was the heyday of these things.
Yeah.
And I remember the first Red Sonja movie, with Bridget and Arnold, and thinking, oh, okay, they did that. All right, that's fine. That wouldn't be me, but that's okay. And then all this time later, when I finally got a chance to sit down with Millennium Films, who made the movie, after they'd gone through multiple directors, filmmakers, and writers. And they were finally looking for, I said, just offer it to me. Right. I am the most qualified person you're going to meet.
Mhm.
Right. And, I've loved fantasy my whole life. I've made fantasy movies. I know how to work fairly low budget. I can make this thing look amazing for not very much. I'm a trans woman, for goodness sake. You can't be any more politically correct than that. Give me the ability to do this. And they said, listen, the budget's going to be pretty small. That's okay. I'm an indie filmmaker. I like that challenge. We need to start shooting pretty quickly. Great. Let me see the script you've got. I read the script, went, okay, I need to change that a bit for me. But if you let me off the leash, I can go and do this. And they did. And 3 months later, I was shooting the movie.
I was actually going to ask about the script because there was a script before you came on board, and I was going to ask how much of that did you change with rewrites?
I mean, this becomes about political writing credits, but I changed it enormously. I mean, I had to write the movie I wanted to write. So Tasha, who's gets the credit for writing this, she had a script which she'd written with Joey Soloway, who was the previous director attached, and I read it, and they made a movie about a very specific thing, and I wasn't particularly interested in that.
Mhm.
I said, great. This shape of the story works for me, but I need to make it mine. I need to hear the voices of these characters, and it needs to be about something I'm interested in. They wanted to make a movie. It seemed to me about sort of the sexual politics of a female warrior,
Mhm.
and I wanted to do something which didn't give a damn that she was a woman. I wanted to make something where the gender of the individuals was inconsequential to the story.
Yeah.
At no point in Red Sonja does anybody go, but she's a woman. I don't think so. I can't remember now. But no, I don't. At no point. It's certainly not made a point of. The issue is that she's a person in the world who is looking for her family, her chosen family, because her tribe was being destroyed.
Yeah.
So she's alone. She gets taken into slavery. So the little gladiator story. She gets taken into slavery and servitude, made to fight. And amongst these fighters, she finds her people again, literally and metaphorically. But in the midst of that, she also realizes that the world is under threat in an environmental way. So the deep underlying theme of the piece really is kind of the natural world versus the industrialized world or the coming industrial world. So Robert Sheehan, this fantastic young Irish actor, plays Dragan, who's the baddie, but
Yeah.
he's a baddie with a real purpose. He has an agenda, he has a plan. He wants to make the world a better place as far as he is concerned by a kind of industrialization process. And Sonia says, no, you can't just destroy it willy-nilly. And that's what matters to me as a person in the world right now. So I thought, well, that's the movie I'll make. I'll have all the sword and sorcery and the cyclops and the horse chases and the sword fights. But it needs to be something that I care about. Otherwise, why give so many years of my life over to it?
Honestly, that's excellent to hear, the reason for why. I feel like sometimes you have some filmmakers who they go with a certain script, whether it's what they want to do or what they don't want to do, and you can kind of tell in the final product that oh, this didn't end up working well, but this is like your film through and through. It's what you wanted to see for Red Sonja. So
Well,
it's
yes, yeah. But that's so interesting because you go, yes, that's the reason I went into making it. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know whether you've seen the movie, but it's then you make the movie, and then 25 producers have an opinion on what it should be.
yeah,
Okay, so as an indie filmmaker, you go, okay, great. I've got 25 producers in there. Say, well, you really want the message and the thing, and we need to have more of it. You go, okay, great. Let me try and accommodate the things that you want and preserve the things that I want. So you go into, I mean, I've never gone into a movie without the best intentions to make the
hmm
best movie. And incredibly frequently, they come out completely distorted from what you intended. That's the process of modern filmmaking now. It is a corporate enterprise. And Millennium and everybody else who put money into this movie want their money back.
yeah,
And that's their intention. Me, I mean, I don't care about money. Of course, I want them to get their money back because if they get their money back, I'll get the chance to make another Red Sonja movie.
yeah,
If this doesn't do any business, they'll move on to the next person and say, well, I gave MJ a shot, fucked it up, whatever, right?
yeah,
I'm I'm very much about, you probably have to bleep that out, I apologize. I'm very much about you've got to go in with the intention because at the other end of the process, some of it may survive.
hmm
Right. And certainly with the people I was making the movie with on the ground, every day we knew what we were doing. We wanted to commit. And Matilda Lutz, who plays Red Sonja, it was wonderful. She gave everything physically and psychologically. She just put everything on the line to be this person for me that I'd interpreted Sonja to be, because Sonja's got like 40 years, 50 years of comic book storytelling behind her. But every writer changed her to be what they wanted her to be for them. So I got permission in a way to say, well, this is my version of Sonja. If you don't like Red Sonja, my version, great. Then there'll be another one along in another 40 years,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then my next question is, you spoke about how you wanted to stay away from the male gaze that, the comics of Red Sonja have. I want to know why that was important for you to do and also important for this version of Red Sonja.
Yeah, because I thought that the problem with Sonja had always been that she was the fantasy of 14-year-old boys, right? The woman, the big busty woman in the chainmail bikini,
Mhm.
who essentially was kind of a masculine identity within a female form, right? And I liked the idea. I wanted to do something where it was not about. I mean, she's still beautiful. I mean, Matilda Lutz is beautiful, so any heterosexual male is going to be like, "Oh my God, she's gorgeous," right? But the
Yeah.
point of it for me was that I wanted her to be a woman in the world, a person in the world, and that wasn't the case. Now she still wears the chainmail bikini,
Yeah, she
right?
does.
Because she has to, right? It's the iconic thing, but how to get to her to wear that without it feeling like it's pandering. And so we completely lean into it. It's totally pandering, and we literally say in the story, the crowd will love it, right?
And then also, from what I've not seen a lot of the film yet, but from what I've seen of it, it was really reminding me of Xena Warrior Princess, just in terms
Yes.
of how it visually looked. And I was wondering, what were your inspirations for the look of this film?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Xena because I know Lucy Lawless. I've directed her, and I really wanted to do a cameo in the film, but I couldn't get it. I don't think. I mean, visually, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't. There's no reference to Xena. Xena's a TV show,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
if you look at Sonja, it's a much more beautiful, classically looking film. So that just leans into
in terms of, sorry,
my personal.
not in terms of visuals, but more like the scenery that I was seeing in the movie was reminding me of some of the scenery that I was seeing in Xena. Not visually how it looks, but more
Okay.
of its scenery. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I think it was. I mean, Xena ran for I don't know how many seasons, so they burned through ideas, right? So you look at Xena and you go, "Great, they've done most of the stuff." The evil wizard in a castle, this and that. So there's certain fantasy tropes I have no choice but to sort of embrace. Um, so there's that. My movie Solomon Kane sort of started my fantasy filmmaking, I guess. But I also grew up on this kind of 80s the 80s visuals of, Milius's Conan, and then going through all like, Lady Hawk and all those films there where fantasy, suddenly, for a moment in time, fantasy was the genre du jour.
yeah,
I didn't want to make a movie that felt like it was just a CGI fest. So most of the stuff in Sonja is practical. there's some set extensions, and obviously there's a Cyclops, which is digital. Um, but there's a scene in a burning forest at the end in the rain at night. It's a big climactic battle sequence, but there's no CG fire there. It's real. We've really burnt. We built a forest out of trees and artificial trees and gas pipes, and we set it on fire. And we shot in there night after night, and this thing was burning all around us. So the aesthetic is pretty real and pretty dirty. I didn't want people to feel beautiful. I mean, Matilda looks beautiful no matter what you do to her. So I cover her in mud and shit and blood, and she's got her face beaten up and scarred at some point. Everything I could possibly do to make it feel like this is a real movie, as opposed to the kind of slightly over-processed digital look of a lot of things now. And this is some sort of a TV vibe as well, because fantasy's moved very much into the TV space.
Yeah.
And I want to try and claim it for cinema, or at least standalone movies. It's very hard to do because it's kind of expensive. But Sonja is an example of what you can do on a very, very modest budget if you're careful about how you approach it. I'd have loved some more money, but that's how it was. So I did it with what I got.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the budget for this Red Sonja film?
I cannot tell you.
Okay, that's all right.
I can tell. I mean, I can tell because there'll be two numbers, right? There'll be the number that the studio says and the number that I know I made it for, and they're not the same number.
But you'd say it's a small budget for this type of indie film.
It's a tiny budget. Oh my God, it's a minuscule budget for what these things normally cost. Yeah. But that's part of the challenge and part of the fun of doing it. I like that as a filmmaker. Give me the hardest thing you've possibly got, and let me have a swing at that.
And then obviously Matilda Lutz plays Red Sonja. I wanted to know how it was getting to work with her throughout the production of this movie.
Oh, she's amazing. So Matilda Lutz came to me because I'd seen an independent movie she did called Revenge, which is this extraordinary piece of filmmaking. And I can't remember the name of the director, a female director who went on to make the thing that Demi Moore did. Just can't remember. I need to remember these now. They got the Oscars last year, right? So I knew that she could deliver incredible performances. But what I liked about Matilda more than the other actresses I met, who are all lots of very wonderful actresses, was this sense of humanity. So she can do anger and she can be funny and all those things. But at the end of the day, I wanted somebody who, for all the violence that she perpetrates and the heads she chops off and people that she stabs, there's an empathy for the world and for people, and even for the villain at the end, brilliantly played by Robert Sheehan. He plays Dragan. He does this amazing performance because he takes the villain who is villainous, but at the same time, like Thanos. He has a point.
Yeah.
Right. So when Sonja confronts him at the end, it's not just with violence; it's with empathy and understanding, and the desire to have no more violence in the world. And I just thought, well, I want somebody who can deliver that for me, and she did, and she's brilliant in it. And she looks amazing, and she trained, and she could do all these things. But at the heart of it is a real human being.
Honestly, thank you so much, MJ. I think that's all the time I have.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I love the answers that you gave me for these questions, and I really can't wait for people to watch Red Sonja. Even people like myself who might have not even read the comics before, I can't wait for people to be introduced to the character, and for fans, who've been waiting 40 years to find the movie when it comes out in August.
Thank you, Christopher. Lovely to talk to you.
Lovely to talk to you too.